Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Farah, and today's the start of a new vlog. We are about in the middle of September, and in a couple days we're going to be heading to our final camping trip of the season, and we are going to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, to be with the Amish people. Just kidding. It's a place that we really enjoy going. My mom and my stepdad also go. We went last year. I'll try to link the vlog that I have last year. I've been quite a few times, but we're going to go there. There's this great campsite we always stay at, campground that we always stay at, and we're also going to be seeing the show Daniel at the Sight and Sound Theater right there down in Lancaster. So it's only going to be a 3-day trip, a 4-day trip actually, but I'm very excited to do that. I always love going there, and I just wanted to introduce the vlog and let you guys know of a couple different things that I have going as far as my reading is right now. So I'm still working on A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. This is the physical book I'm reading. I started it on audio and it just didn't work for me. I couldn't get on with the narrator. So I switched to the physical book and I'm enjoying it a ton better, so much better. So I'm about 50% of the way through that. And this is I would say a new adult fantasy romance book following a young woman named Feyre who's about 19 years old. She's living in poverty with her sisters and her dad. It takes place not in modern times, back in the times where they're hunting for food. I don't think there's electricity, that kind of thing, in a fantasy world. And there is a fairy world that is not far away where a different group of people live that are called the Fae. And they're not supposed to really intermix with each other. There's some kind of magical wall that separates them. But Feyre gets captured by this fairy named Tamlin for something that she did accidentally, that she didn't realize she did. So it's a very loose retelling of Beauty and the Beast. There's a romance that develops. There's a evil force that is threatening to take over the fairy world. And, we all know that kind of story. So it's going really well. I really like the world building quite a bit. It started out a little bit slow, and I'm having a little hard time connecting with our main character, Feyre, and her main love interest, Tamlin. Just in terms of their characters, I feel like they're just a little bit lacking depth or personality. That's just me. There are other characters that I'm enjoying more. I'm enjoying Lucian, which is Tamlin's friend. He's just funny. I don't know. He's making me laugh. He has more interesting personality than Tamlin. And then I'm also enjoying this mysterious new character named Rysand, who was just introduced, who is a fairy that's... he seems like he's got a bit of an edge to him, so we don't really know what's going on with him. So I'm going to be reading that. And then I'm also starting a new audiobook, and this is called In the Lives of Puppets. This is by TJ Klume. So The House of the Cerulean Sea, I really, really liked. I read that a year or two ago, and it was just so cute, cozy hug in a book. And In the Lives of Puppets is not, I don't think it's going to be quite as cozy or sweet as that, but it's basically a science fiction loose retelling of Pinocchio. So we're in this world of robots, and we're following this young guy named Vic, who's probably in his early 20s, his father, Geo, who's an android, who adopted him, and then a couple of his little robot machine friends. I know that I'm not selling the book the way I'm describing it, but his friends, he has a little vacuum cleaner who is just this lovable little thing that just wants love and appreciation, and he enjoys old tap dancing movies like Top Hat with Fred Astaire, and he's just all over the place like a little loose nut, And then we have Nurse Ratched, who is a robot nurse who is slightly sadistic, and she is hysterical so far. So I'm about not even quite a quarter of the way through this, and the audio narrator is amazing. I think that listening to this book is actually enhancing my enjoyment of it quite a bit. He just does the voices really well. And every time he does the voice of this Nurse Ratched robot, it makes me laugh. Like I'm laughing out loud. I rarely laugh out loud when I'm reading books or listening to books. But his delivery plus TJ Klune's writing is just making me laugh. So it's a little bit of a slow start. Like I said, we're following Vic. Vic is a human, And in this world, I don't know if there's any humans left in the world. It's kind of a mystery as to what's going on. They're kind of secluded in this Swiss Family Robinson style treehouse that they live in. So Vic and his two robot friends, the nurse and the vacuum, they go to this old scrapyard to find pieces. Vic loves to create things, and they find this broken android who resembles a young man, and they call him Hap. So they're trying to decide if they should bring him back and put him together, and what's going to happen. So I think it's going to be an adventure. There's going to be a dark past that's revealed, and they're going to have to go on a quest. So we'll see what happens, but those are the two books I'm going to focus on. And then I have my ebook, which I started a little while ago, and this is called A Darker Wilderness, From Soil to the Stars, and this is Black nature writing. So this is a collection of different essays written by Black authors focusing on their perceptions and their experiences in nature. And this is so much different than what I thought it was going to be. It's not just a straight up book about them describing nature, but it's a full-on immersion of their experiences within nature. But there just seems to be such a stronger message that is within this nature writing that I'm really enjoying. Some of the writings so far have been really good. Not all of them. There's one that was quite a bit boring that I kind of skimmed through, but it's really interesting to think about nature. And for me, I grew up having access to the outdoors every single day. I could go outside in nature whenever I wanted. I could be in the quietness of nature. I could see plants. I could see wildlife and animals almost every day. And sometimes I forget that not everybody had that childhood. Some people grew up in urban areas where there wasn't a ton of nature. You had your parks, but you never really sat outside in full silence. You had the noises of human beings. You had cars and sirens and people, and there was always people around whenever you stepped outside. You never were alone. So it's really interesting. This one piece I'm writing is written by this man who's actually incarcerated right now, but he was able to contribute this piece of writing into this book. And he was writing about his childhood growing up in alleys and abandoned houses, and it's like really incredible just to see that different perspective of how he saw nature within his surroundings and what it felt like, and the nature that was growing and taking over the abandoned building that he used to play in, and how he created these landscapes of nature within these alleys that he grew up in. And so I'm really enjoying this book. It's been on my Kindle for a little while, so I'm trying to get to some of my Kindle books, and I'm glad I did. So I'm going to be reading that and listening to In the Lives of Puppets on the way to Lancaster, and then A Court of Thorns and Roses when I get there. So that's my update for now. Stay tuned. Next time you see me, we'll be in Lancaster. I usually don't vlog or talk while I'm camping, so you'll probably see a bunch of footage, and then I'll check in when I get back to let you know how the reading's going. Hey guys, we are camping in Lancaster County for a couple days, and here's our little camper setup. It's such a pretty campground. There's a field of corn right behind us, and it's nice. The sites are pretty private. There's little cabins. Up there are some more tent sites and RV sites. I think those ones don't have full hookup. They just have electric and water, which is fine. That's all we have. But it's a really nice campground. We really like it here. So I'll check in a little bit and tell you guys what I'm gonna hopefully be reading. It's such a beautiful campground. The corn right here. We got a really nice spot. There's a look at the other people. I'm just sitting behind the camper kind of because it's in the shade, but yeah, so right now I'm bouncing around between Acts and some of Paul's letters, like the Theologians, and I'm not sure what today's reading is, but yeah, it's all very interesting. It's interesting to see a lot of the rules come into play. Yeah, I have separate thoughts on that, but I'm not really going to talk about it. But yeah, I really am enjoying my time reading the Bible, and especially as we're getting towards the end, it's been a really great experience.
Does she sound like a stray?
Probably. Kitty. Hey guys, well, I'm back from our camping trip to Lancaster, and it was so much fun. I love going down there. I don't know what it is. It's like just relaxing, and the weather's always a little warmer, and I love seeing the Amish people going about their business and doing the things they do during the day. I'm really fascinated by their culture. I mean, I know they're not perfect, but it just feels like you're stepping back in time a little bit and looking at just a lifestyle that's so different from ours. And I think what I really love about their culture is their focus on their whole family unit or their whole community as a whole, instead of this individual sort of what can I get out of life or how can I make my life the best. But instead it's more of like just being together and appreciating life, and I don't know, I enjoy it. Anyway, so I finished A Court of Thorns and Roses on the ride home, and I really ended up liking this. There was definitely some issues with this book. I felt that I couldn't fully connect with our main characters even through the very end, although it did get better since I switched from the audiobook. And I think as we see what happens to Farah and how we see vulnerabilities within her, we see her overcoming things. I mean, she has to participate in these trials. The villain was really ruthless. Although I didn't fully buy into the motivation of the villain. Let's just say that. I didn't buy into her reasons for being so cruel and mean. I don't know. It wasn't enough, but I know I'm not the target audience for this. I would have been about 20 years ago if I read it in my 20s. But I still love this type of story. It reminded me how much I really like fantasy and how much I haven't been reading it. How much of it paranormal romances and fantasy and things like that. I just haven't been reading a lot of it. And it is a genre that I really love. So it did remind me to kind of get back into these genres, which I have always enjoyed. You know, the second half of the book focuses more on Farah and what she has to do to I don't want to give away spoilers, but what she has to do, and she has to participate in a series of trials to survive, and I love that kind of trope. I thought the creativity of the trials was pretty good, especially the first one. That was the best one. And, you know, you have to suspend your belief a little bit for some of these types of books, but there was a person that was brutally tortured and murdered based on one of her choices, and I feel like she didn't fully feel the implications of that, or she didn't fully feel the guilt of that. It was touched upon a little bit, but it wasn't enough, you know? Girl, what you said and did really resulted in a horrific thing for somebody else. But anyway, you know, I enjoyed it. I loved using the Fable app as part of MJ's book club. That was really fun to contribute to the different chapters along with other people. So I really enjoyed it. I'm definitely going to keep going in the series. Not sure when. I might not do it right now because I have some other series that I'm still working on. But yeah, it was fun. A Court of Thorns and Roses. I get the hype, but I didn't feel the hype. It was probably a 4-star for me. I also finished A Darker Wilderness. I really enjoyed this. This was a really, really interesting and introspective book for me. again, I loved just hearing different perspectives of what nature felt like and what it meant to other people. And it really had a strong social commentary on top of it. So it's not like straight up nature writing. There was a lot going into it. There were pieces of nature throughout it, but I wouldn't say it was like full nature essays, which I thought that's what it was going to be. There was this one short story, or there was this one essay that really made me think about how far we as a culture have come away from farming and the direct use of the land. And there was this one story about this woman and her husband who created a farm in their community to help feed the people and to really use the gifts of agriculture and planting and gardening to benefit your entire community. And I really liked that. And it's just something that I haven't thought about in a long time. So I really ended up enjoying that book. I think if you like that type of genre, you might really enjoy it. Again, there was 2 or 3 essays that didn't hold my interest too well, but most of them I really enjoyed quite a bit. And then, yeah, I am about 75% through the way for In the Lives of Puppets. And I really am enjoying this one too. The story started out a bit slow, but it's picking up. So I think it's not a perfect book. There are some pacing issues for me personally. But it's more about how much I enjoy the characters and how much I'm enjoying Hap, who is the android that they saved. And Hap stands for Hysterically Angry Puppet. And I really enjoy Vic and his sweetness and his vulnerability. And Rambo is just, I think the voice narrator is overdoing his part a little bit. It's a little like, but he's still so endearing and cute. And the Nurse Ratched is my favorite. She's the comic relief. I love like the things that she says. They're just timed perfectly. TJ Klume, I think, has a really good sense of humor, or at least I vibe with his sense of humor quite a bit. But it's really giving me a lot of Wizard of Oz vibes. I mean, we have these 4 friends that are embarking to the City of Electric Lights. I think that's the name of it. And they have to meet the Blue Fairy, and who reminds me of the wizard. And we've got this android with a hybrid human heart. And it's like the Tin Man. I don't know. It's supposed to be a loose retelling of Pinocchio, but I am getting so much of the Wizard of Oz feeling with this book. And I love the Wizard of Oz. It's one of my all-time favorite movies, stories. So it's going really well. It's really exploring, I guess, humanity and what it means to be human, and the idea of living in a world full of robots. And I don't know though, some of the robots and the androids in the story, they're very human. So there's not a huge difference sometimes between the characters. Like the androids, they're acting very human-y. The good ones at least. The bad ones, they're all machine, no heart, no conscious or anything. But that's just something I noticed. But overall, I'm really enjoying it. It's a great audiobook listening experience, and I should hopefully be done soon, a couple of days with this one. And we're right at the end of September now, so that works out great. I'm hoping to have a clean slate for October, so I can really get into the books I've chosen for that. And then I did start a new ebook. This one's pretty short, so I'm hoping I'll be done with this soon as well. But this one is called I Who Have Not Known Men, I Who Have Never Known Men. I think that's the title. And this is a very interesting book. I'm not going to talk about it really much at all now. I'll pick it up in my next vlog, but I'm just getting sucked into this really quickly, so that's going well. Nightmares and Dreamscapes, I'm getting through that, but it really isn't really that great. I hate to say that. It's my first Stephen King, and who am I to judge him? But I just am not being captivated by these stories. They're okay and they're entertaining, but I kind of want to DNF it. I'm not going to lie. I kind of want to DNF it. I'm going to stick through it though. The next one I have to read is Rainy Season, and I've heard that's a good one. So I guess I'll just keep going. But I think I'll be a little bit, maybe I'll just start skimming through some of them if they're not holding my interest. So that's the update. Happy September. We're on the final day of September now. It's going to be October tomorrow. As you can see in the background a little bit, here, I'll flip the camera. The leaves are starting to change, but it's definitely starting to change, and it's just beautiful. Really, really beautiful. It's warm today, and I'm finally able to walk back here because for about a month and a half there were a lot of cows out in the field that I have to cross before I get here. So I'm happy to be back out here in the woods, and I hope you guys had a great month of reading. I didn't get to much that I wanted, but it's all right, you know. That wraps it up, you guys. I hope you have a great rest of your day today, and thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon.